There we go. Hello,
Cool.
sir.
How's it going?
Good, good. Thank you for appearing on my little show and everything.
Cool,
Um,
no problem.
I mean, to me, this is a real blessing. I want to just kind of approach things organically. I do have
Okay.
some topics that I do want to discuss with you, though, being that you are the Frog King.
Okay,
And,
definitely.
and I mean, how I learned from frogging was from one of your videos. I'm not,
I
I mean,
appreciate that.
truly, and it upped my game.
Good,
So,
good, good.
I mean, really upped my game. So one of the things that, one of my questions that I do have for you, just to start it out, at what point did you realize that you wanted to become a pro angler?
I was about, I want to say 11 years old.
Wow.
And I was watching a show very similar to Ultimate Match Fishing. And it had an 18-year-old kid and a 16-year-old kid. And they were going
Mhm.
head to head. And the 16-year-old kid beat the 18-year-old kid and won 5 grand. And I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so one of the stories that I know you were telling you one of the origin stories, okay? And you were speaking of how you got your first bass boat and how your father contributed to getting that going and actually
Yep.
getting you out on the lake. I know you stated that he's one of the few people that is not an angler that's one of your heroes.
Well, my dad
Besides,
fishes, but he doesn't fish professionally.
okay, okay, all right. Now, what insights or what characteristics of your father that makes him your hero?
Well, he was 100% supportive in whatever I wanted to do.
Hmm.
I don't see a lot of that nowadays from parents, and regardless of what their kid wants to be, whether they want to be a pro bass fisherman or a firefighter or an astronaut or president or anything, is they got
Right.
to be 100% supportive to whatever that kid wants to do. And my dad at no point in time told me that I could not go do this for a living. In fact,
Nice.
he encouraged it. And he gave me all the tools that I needed. He whatever he could do, he made sure, taking me to boat shows, buying me every fishing magazine possible out there, taking me fishing as much as he possibly could, but also
Right.
teaching me about life at the same time and about work ethic. And I just think that there's a huge ethic in this business that people need to put forward to be successful.
Agreed. Agreed. I've watched your career and your social media presence. I mean, you don't have a YouTube channel, but your presence on YouTube is phenomenal. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to do that and still concentrate on fishing.
Mhm.
What I tell people is I've spent a lot of time in this business, and I've actually had downtimes of being focused on other things other than just fishing. And people think, oh, well, you're fishing on YouTube. It's not the same as
Right.
building content and being tournament angler and focused on tournaments. I mean, I'm kind of in a slump right now, but I've got like a giant project going on in my house. And once I get that done, it's
Hmm.
back to being focused on fishing.
Right. And with that being said, I mean, we look at you say you're in a slump, but let's look at your overall career. You've had 9 career wins, 52 top tens, 23 top 20s. I mean, that's legendary.
Yeah, it's good, but like I said, there's times where it could be better, and distractions. It's the key to any sport and any profession is distractions. I mean, you see when Tiger Woods got distracted on where his golf game went. You've seen when Michael Jordan got distracted where his basketball game went. I mean, they're still legendary icons in sports, but there are things that distract you, and business will distract you. And that's where the YouTube thing kind of for me is yeah, I can sell a lot of product and work great for my sponsors on YouTube, but at the same time, I still love the competition and I still want to win.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of the competition and wanting to win, your biggest skill set, or you actually, I believe, but correct me if I'm wrong, your top three skill sets are frogging, flipping, spinnerbait. Am I correct in that?
And the spinnerbait thing is, I mean, the spinnerbaits kind of died out now. It's not the same as it used to be because you got chatterbaits and A rigs and all the other stuff that are out there. But yeah,
Hmm.
when it comes to flipping and it comes to frogging and punching, that's gonna be my deal. And if it plays out of an event like that, I'm gonna fare very well.
Good, good. Now, with that being said, you get asked this question 1,000 times. I mean, your career is extensive. You have a great tenure there with as an angler. Your personal setups, why you choose to go heavy on the braid, and I mean, let's start there, if you
Well,
don't
my
mind.
personal setups is all Daiwa equipment, Daiwa Tatula Elite Series rods. The reason I've worked with them for so long is I've designed from the beginning a lot of their rods, and then we came into the Pro Series of the Tatula Elite, and I was able to, make the exact rods that I wanted. Um, the reels are phenomenal. They're the best reels in the market. Daiwa they've always been the innovator on everything. The first with a long cast for spool, the first one with an infinite anti-reverse, which you don't get the old knuckle busting anymore. They're the ones with the SV spool that allows you to cast without getting backlash once you set the reel up correctly. And it doesn't matter what bait you're throwing and what size line you're throwing. And then heavy on the braid is you go big or you go home. Braid is once again one of those things where if you fish 20 or 30 pound braid on everything thinking that that's heavy enough, I can break 20 or 30 pound braid on a hook set. And you don't want that. But they'll
Right,
eat 50 and they'll eat 65 pound braid. And I mean, and when they'll eat 50 and 65 pound braid, why do anything else? You don't go and, try to wrestle down a bear with, thread. You got to bring big rope.
right, right. And and because of that statement by itself, you've converted my mentality about how I'm using braid as far as, when I do frog, because I was that 25-pound guy, you know,
Yep.
but it doesn't make any sense when I listen to your reasoning and justification behind it. So I'm switching over without a doubt. You converted me.
Yeah. I mean, you go throw in a mat and a 10 pound fish eats it, and you've got 30 pound braid. Most likely, you're going to break that fish off. But
Okay.
the heavier braid also serves purpose. 30 pound braid is 6 pound diameter test line, and it doesn't float as good as 50 pound braid when you're fishing a frog or fishing any kind of top water out there. I do throw 40 on my top waters. Only time you'll see me use 30 is if I'm saltwater fishing, 20 on spinning reels. And so
Okay.
it's 50 to 65 pound braid every single time.
Okay. Now, here's the other thing too. Because you are the frog man, the frog master, you've been able to develop your fat frog. I think what it's been 9, 10 years now since it came out.
Well, we have the Fat Matt Daddy Frog, and that's been inception for about 6 years now.
Okay.
The Fat Frog, actually, the original Fat Frog was built. Gosh, I want to say almost 15 years ago. I mean,
Okay.
it's been a long time, and that was one of those deals where I got to build a frog, and it was a good frog. And then the new Fat Matt Daddy Frog from River to Sea is a better frog. I mean, it's got better hooks in it, and it's a little bit wider body, fishing for bigger fish. It floats. I mean, the materials are better, and that's with anything. In fishing is you always have better materials. And I'll probably build another one, 5 years from now again, once better materials come out and better hooks come out and things like that.
Right. Um, let's see here. Your pitching setup. I know one of your sponsors, a longtime sponsor for you, has been Missile Baits
Yep.
and the DBomb. That bait has won you a lot of money in your career.
I want to say it's probably won me over $1 million. That single bait alone.
What's your setup with that, my friend?
Well, the D-bomb is rigged many different ways. I mean, you could put it on the back of a jig. I've caught them on the back of a chatterbait with it. But flipping and pitching, you can punch it with a 1 ounce weight. You can pitch it around. But New Jack flipping hook from River to Sea, the 5/0 hook that I designed. and I put that in it most of the time. And then it's about choosing your weight and then choosing your line side according to what you're trying to fish. I mean, you're pitching around docks, I can get away with, 18 to 20 pound Daiwa Samurai J Fluoro. Or if once again, if I'm punching, I'm back to 65 pound J braid. I mean, it's one of those things. And then chatterbait, like I said, you put on the back of a chatterbait that has so much action, then you can put it on the back of a jig and it stands up. I was actually flipping on the back of a jig when I won Okeechobee event, and what it was is the actual jig, I could pitch it in there and the jig would stand up with the DBomb, and the DBomb would move without me moving the rod. And that was key to not moving the bait but having action in the bait itself, and the fish would eat it.
Good. And that was Lake Okeechobee, where your total was what, 108 pounds for the 3 days?
Yep, it's the largest, still the largest 4-day total at Lake Okeechobee.
Wow, man, that's still standing, and that's amazing. Your relationships with your sponsors, like I said, I've noticed that your sponsors have been by your side from day one. I mean, it's a long-term longevity relationship. Do
Yeah.
you? Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to
No, go
say,
ahead.
yeah, the relationship with sponsors is very key in this industry, but that goes back to work ethic. I see a lot of guys out there, they call up a sponsor and they go, "What can you do for me?" And it's not what the sponsor can do for the angler, it's what you guys can do for each other. My first initial conversation is I'm here to help you sell product. What can I do that you feel to help you sell product? Here are some of my ideas. Tell me what you want to do. And that's the relationship that starts to get built. And so the long-term deal with the sponsors is I have a great relationship with the majority of my sponsors. But as with anything, people change, come and go, and those relationships have to start all over, or they rebuild, or you have to make adjustments. I was with Ranger since 2004,
Right.
and now I'm with Skeeter 17 years later. I was with Skeeter before then, but that's once again the relationships that were built at the time. So it's having longevity is building relationship and working really hard for a company. Don't look at it as a sponsorship as, oh, I fish and they're going to give me free product. Look at it as, hey, I am working for this company. The better I do my job, the more they're going to support me, the more they're going to do for me,
Right.
and I do my part and I sell them a bunch of product and make them money. They're going to continue to keep me. And that's what this business is about.
Great. Great.
I
One of the
saw a
things.
quick question, though, real quick, back to the frog thing. Guy asked if we tie leaders. There's no reason to tie a leader on any of your top water baits except for a prop bait like a devil's horse, because the braid will actually get into the props and not allow you to work the bait effectively. But when you're fishing a walking bait, a buzz bait, whopper plopper, or a frog, you don't need to tie a leader because the fish don't see the line due to the glare and the reflection from the light above, and there's no reason to have an extra knot. But I just wanted to answer that quick question.
Oh, no, thank you, because that was something I was going to talk about down the line, because up here I'm in Wisconsin, and I had a discussion with a couple other anglers about pitching and so forth, pitching and flipping. And initially I was always like, yeah, I'm going to run the braid with fluorocarbon leader. But then I watched one of your classes, online classes, and I felt like a fool. Like it, how you explain the reasoning why that there's never a need for a fluorocarbon leader, it just makes sense. So
Yeah, there's no reason for it. All you're doing is putting an extra knot in your line, and then with the fluorocarbon leader, fluorocarbon sinks versus braid floats. So you'll be dragging the nose of that bait down, and you don't want to do that because you're not working your bait properly. The whole thing is you're fishing for a fish in his environment, and you got to make it as real as possible. And the realer that it looks, the more that they're going to be attracted to the bait. I mean, they're very much like humans. They look and they analyze their meal before they eat it. I mean, it's just like you got a plate of chicken sitting there, but one piece looks crispier than the other. Well, you're gonna go ahead and eat that chicken that's crispier looking, or the French fries that don't look soggy. Those are the ones that you want to eat versus the ones that are soggy and cold.
Absolutely. Great explanation. Great. One of the things too, I'm throwing a lot at, but you give back a lot. Okay. And your high school projects, do you feel like discussing those?
Well, I mean, giving back is the high school. The high school kids are the future of the sport. For me, is setting up Houston High and working with Oakdale High and doing stuff, throughout my communities is very important to me because once again, these kids have enough things in this world to derail them into a something I would say not positive. I'll get into a quick story about how fishing basically saved my life. And once
Yes.
again, it starts back into high school. And one of my buddies, called me up and asked me to see if I was going to go and do a party.
Mhm.
And another person calls me up, hey, you're going to go to this party. And another guy calls me, you're going to go to this party. And then the girls start calling, hey, you going to this party? And I'm just like, I'm not going because I'm going fishing. And then my best friend, he calls me up and it was one of those things where he's like, man, you got to go to this party. And I'm just like, nah, man, I got to go fishing. So it ended up being a very bad night that night. I actually didn't go to the party. My best friend was found hanging from an overpass. And could I have been there to save his life? Maybe. But could I have been hanging there with him on that overpass? And that's the question. And so I always say that fishing has saved my life. It's kept me out of trouble, where a lot of times I was too busy focused on going fishing than I was doing anything else. I wasn't necessarily worried about, going out with girls at that time. And a lot of my friends had kids in high school, which, you really don't want that for any kid. So my thing about giving back to the community is getting these kids, back out there fishing. And I just started a foundation with a saltwater captain, James Smith, from the California Dawn, called Yo Foundation, Youth Outdoors Foundation. And it's all about getting kids back into fishing. And so we're basically from a saltwater side, he's helping us get kids out there in the San Francisco Bay fishing for halibut and rock cod and link cod and stripers. I'm working on it in the freshwater side with my connections, getting kids fishing in freshwaters, and then being able to help support the high school programs for the kids that don't have a lot of equipment. I do want to give a shout out to Bass Pro Shops. When I was working in it, they actually were very, very helpful with getting kids hats and tackle boxes and rods and reels, and same thing with Daiwa and a lot of my sponsors like that. Now I'm working with Fisherman's Warehouse, and they're ready to be on that same program of helping, the less unfortunate kids be able to go fishing. The biggest thing for me now is figuring out how to get boat captains for these kids, because I don't want to leave a kid on the bank. You get
Right.
that kid in a bass boat running 60 plus miles an hour the down the water. He's not going to be wanting to go race around in a car. He wants to get back out in that bass boat. And then he catches his first bass. To watch that bobber go down, to watch that bite, to watch that feeling, see that smile in that kid's face, that's way more, fulfillment to me than anything else in this world. You can't even put a price on that. And my thing is I just want to save at least one kid's life and do what fishing did for me, and that's save mine.
Wow. Couldn't have said it any better. I mean, dude, I'm kind of fanboyish right now, so I apologize. It's like you being all right I grew up in Minnesota and so forth, Wisconsin and Illinois. And as an angler growing up, because I'm a little older than you, not by much, but the only thing I seen fishing was on, on the weekend fishing shows, Roland Martin and so forth, Al Linder and those guys. But I'd never seen representation of people of color. Now, was that
There
ever a
was. There
concern?
actually, technically, there was. If you watched Bassmasters, there was a gentleman by the name of Alfred Williams, who is the original frog master. He's the guy who started the whole frog thing. He is one of my heroes and one of my idols. And he, based out of Mississippi, and you just had to look. That was the whole thing, is you had to look. And, the one thing is my dad put that in front of my face.
Okay.
But it's not about necessarily the color. It's more so about presenting it to a child that they can understand what's going on, and that this person is just like you, and so that they feel like they can do it. I always kind of make this deal like, do you think Obama, how much pressure people put on him about him wanting to be president? Like, you can't be president because you're black. Well, that's not true. I think the greatest thing that he could ever do for this entire country was the fact that he was president, because it shows anybody and everybody of any nationality or even female that they could go out there and be president of the United States, which meant that anything's possible. And that's what it's all about now, is just teaching everybody that anything is possible, because honestly, at the end of the day, your skin color really doesn't matter. It's about how you treat people at the end of the day.
Agreed.
I saw one other quick question here. What is it? Off the Hook Jigs asked about small company with a new product coming out. Can I give any tips on starting a new product? The whole deal, for Off the Hook Jigs is getting your product into, guys' hands and letting them fish with it, getting good, realistic content video, not going to a farm pond and throwing it in a farm pond like you saw with a lot of those infomercial products. It's actually fishing places that people fish a lot. If you're in Texas going to Rayburn, Toledo, you're in California fishing Delta, Clear Lake, you're on the East Coast, Potomac, you're in Florida, Okeechobee, places like that, start catching fish on those baits, people will come and they will buy.
Great answer. Now, Ish, normally my format is sometimes to bring individuals on. Would you mind if someone came on and just asked you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's first person that sends the request. Let's see here. I think someone's moving slow, huh?
Yep. I'll answer another question while we're waiting for the request.
Okay.
KP Hunting and Fishing asked, made a rod and reel review and had some people buying that combo. Should I message that company about sending me another combo to review and promote them? When it comes to rod and reel reviews, I review the products that you like. Negativity in this industry, if you don't like the rod and the reel there. Here we go. We got a couple real quick. Let me finish answering this question real quick. But you want to review products and rod and reels, but if you contact that company, some stuff that you think that you're going to use and you're going to like, and definitely review it that way. But I would definitely stay away from the negativity in the industry.
Ish, is there anything that you would like to say to a message that just sends across the world here?
Right now, there's a lot of distractions in this world, and parents need to focus on getting their kids and taking them fishing. That's the first thing is it all starts with the parents. If you don't get your kids out there fishing, nobody else is going to get them out there. Secondly is, stay safe in this world right now with all the crazy times and the things that are going on. And then lastly is it doesn't really matter. It don't let it get to you. Go out there, go fishing, go work on tackle, go do something that makes you happy. And as long as you're happy, then nothing else really matters. And that's what fishing is for me is when I'm out there fishing, nothing else really matters. And like I said, things want to get in the way of distractions. You got to push it all to the side.
Man, sir, it has been a privilege. It has been an honor. I'm still kind of fanboying out, so I have to apologize.
That's all right. That's all right. You can get me back on. You can get me back on again.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you. You when you agreed to come on, you basically, like I said in the message, I said, man, it's been an emotional week. Okay, because like I said, you coming on, then I had some other things that are working out for building Midwest Fishing and Outdoors, and so I'm flabbergasted.
Yeah, definitely reach out to Mark, reach out to a lot of other anglers you want to have on. And a lot of these guys, the ones that are do it are the guys who are going to make it in this world. And the guys that don't want to do it, you don't have to worry about them because there's other guys that will do it. I mean, you got Mark and you got Latimer and you got a lot of upcoming anglers, but reach out to Wheeler and reach out, to Connell and reach out to Dean Rojas. I mean, all these guys that's the great part about social media is it's throwing an avenue for you to reach out to a lot of different anglers over a lot of different spectrums and, reach out to Ike. And he's a busy guy and you might just happen to get him on. And if you can get him on in his busy time schedule, that's what builds your brand.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I really appreciate time. Anytime you see me on, please join. Just phenomenal.
All right. I'll do that. Have a good one.
You too, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. Well, people, what can you say? I mean, the man he's exactly what you see. I'm so grateful. Just grateful. Period. One of the things I always say, I've said this year, and this is what I mean, and those who I fish with and associate, but those who have also seen me on social media, is that 2021 is a statement year. Do whatever it takes to make a statement. Period. Whatever avenue that you love, whatever avenue that you desire, was fishing, snowboarding, whatever it may be. Okay, cooking, baking. Make a statement. And that's all I have to say. I appreciate everyone showing up. I appreciate the organic flow that we have here, and I appreciate everyone's support. So, thank you all. Peace.